if you dream or you remember from past reincarnations, maybe it's your dream, maybe it's a vision, maybe just glimpses of something that looks like a horror movie. Indeed, yes, I can understand that. But you dream about a laboratory or your own death or someone else's death during maybe the war. And a lot of people currently, especially Polish, German, people who have connotation with Poland, with Germany, and it's connected with the war, they have a specific types of dreams and glimpses, and I had a lot of them as well. And some of them I described in my Oracle series. However, about experiments on humankind, experiments on children. Some of you may dream as a child dying, being experimented on. So if you do experience that, I want to calm you down that you're probably not imagining it, because the facts are, and you are probably tapping into your own individual history or collective. So it could also happen that you do pick up collective memory of our humanity, and maybe you even lived that time in a specific part of Germany, a city, and some of you had a specific dreams about experiments on children especially, and I found in libraries, online libraries, facts, articles about it, that indeed something like that happens. So these are facts that in Heidelberg there were experiments on children, and just to let you know where that was, this is the online library willy.com, and I will give you the link to that. And this location is exactly in Heidelberg. Let me just find it. It's not only in Heidelberg, but it's also in Berlin. A lot of those, the institutes, the psychiatric hospitals, clinic, military facilities, but especially Heidelberg Psychiatric Clinic. So a major interdisciplinary research on heredity idiocy by Karl Schneider, with the support of Professor of Pediatric Johannes Duken. 52 children and adolescents were subjected to an extensive diagnostic program. 21 of these idiot children, as they were referred to, were murdered at Eiberg Psychiatric Asylum to obtain their brains for further research. Their brains were sliced away when the university rector Volker Selin ordered their removal in 12th of January 1989, so as to avoid public controversy. I will save you the whole article about it. It's very long. However, there were a lot of people who did that. They were military. They were also a scientist under different conditions. And very interesting is the last subtitle of this article, which is conflict of interest. And it has only one sentence. Let me read you. No conflict of interest. A lot of the names are hidden. The lists are lost, and a lot of Americans who were here after the Second War, they were translating those documents and archiving them, and some of them were, of course, lost. Additionally to all of that, they were indeed, because now is the new topic, which is not new. Some of people say it's a conspiracy. Some of the people say this is not true, we don't have chemtrails, and this is just a conspiracy. Okay, whatever it is, I just would like to let you know that there are a lot of articles about chemical and biological weapons and experiments on that, and also during the Second War, there were experiments in different cities in Germany, also Poland, in Gdańsk, for example, and this is well documented and well documented the research and the results on whom, what kind of people, not only on the prisoners. 1944-45 scientists and physicians in the Allied military intelligence gathered evidence on the criminal human experiments with chemical weapons conducted on inmates of the Nazi concentration camps in Sachsenhausen, Natzweiler, and Neuengamme during World War II. Some of the experiments were judged during the Nuremberg medical trial, case 1, and French military tribunals at Metz and Lyon after liberation. Based on this evidence and on further archival sources, this paper will examine the preconditions and settings of those experiments, the perpetrators involved, and what is known about their purpose and outcome. Furthermore, the paper will raise the question if and how the experiments in the concentration camps were linked to other experiments conducted in Nazi Germany for the Wehrmacht at a military research establishments such as the Gas Protection Laboratory in Spandau, the Militärärztliche Akademie, the Herrenversuchsstelle Ruppkammer, or by universities. Here I will pause for a moment because some of you are immigrated from different countries, so whether America, Poland, or other countries, and you are basically set in Heidelberg, and you are drawn to Heidelberg as your place to live. And there is always a reason for something. So if you do maybe have those additional dreams, this maybe is something you would like to know about a little bit more. Some of you, for example, dreamt about being killed in the university, being a child, being during the World War II, and so on, so on. There are plenty of those dreams, of course, in my stories that I described. In some of them in the dreams, and I described at that time as a fiction because, of course, there were not so many people around me that could relate to my stories, and very likely that times, especially in Poland, they would say, okay, that's something too extraordinary to even think about. But for now, there is more and more of us having similar experiences, similar dreams. So there's definitely something collective about it. It's worth to know about it. Here, I won't read you the whole article, probably that would take more than an hour or so, but I will give you a link so you can study it more. I will tell you just the basics. It was happening at the universities. Companies, different companies, chemical warfare research, just one more part of that which I found it important. In military and academic context is generally an issue of secrecy. It encompasses screening, identification of potential chemical agents suitable for use as weapons, means and methods for their large-scale industrial production, storage, and deployment, as well as defensive research in toxicology on animals and humans. It also includes possible medical prophylaxis and treatments, as well as measures and technologies for detecting chemical agents and protecting soldiers and civilians against the severe injuries and health risks involved. In contrast to other fields of scientific research, most of the results on chemical warfare issues have remained unpublished. In the case of Nazi Germany, military agencies and private companies involved in the research, development, and production of chemical weapons systematically destroyed their records from fall 1944. Since the intention was to avoid written evidence, orders were given only orally, so that events remained undocumented. So here, with the new generation, they probably won't remember if we do not archive those types, those pieces of history, and considering that everything is psychobiology, everything is stored in our DNA. I had a case of the lady who had some of the problems currently in life, considering her private things, and during our work we encountered that her ancestor was a Nazi and killed a lot of people. So if you do follow that, and then she of course found the clothes that someone still had after this person, so it has tremendous effect if you do dream about it or have a member of family or our families are connected. You know, we have a lot of Polish, German families. I know that there's a lot of German families currently living in Germany. So this is our collective karma, collective subconsciousness, that we are affected. So I'm very warmly greeting, especially those cleaners call themselves energetic cleaners and do this work for other people, because they do enormous work, most of the times anonymously. Some of them they do that as a business, as they do that as a profession. Some of them are just accidentally called to the place and clear it from a certain ghost, or sometimes there are certain crowd of souls that stayed in a current place because someone was doing experiments with gas, right? Okay, so you have here a lot of description of experiments that were taking place in a different cities, Auschwitz, Majdanek, Sobibor, Treblinka, and so on. Most of them you know if you followed a little bit of the history of that. And development, this is in the Weimar Republic. Research and development of chemical weapons had been organized in a covert network of smaller dislocated working groups and laboratories in Germany and abroad by means of a secret collaboration between the Reichswehr and the Red Army. After the Nazis had seized power on January 33rd, the research and development of chemical weapons became high priority in the context of the armament policy of the new regime. So of course there was no ethics here, and who would even think about ethics here? Here is a lot of other information, and just I wish I can save you that, but for some of you who have those dreams and you know that you have to work with those, it's really good to know at least some of the facts. So it was not only on the children, it was also on their own officers and military people, and how they were doing that. They were pretending that they were actually not, they were just pressurizing people that, you know, if you do it, if everybody does it, then you have to also be a subject of those experiments. And of course they were buying people, so they were offering some money for it if you take a part of that, and so on, so on. Of course, the prisoners have nothing to say. So they were also private. They were also academic institutions, so universities, and of course, a lot of that, a lot of those archives were destroyed. A lot Americans translated after the war to English, and they are currently, you can find them online. It's real. Human, I think this one is important. The human experiments were conducted in self-experiments by the scientists on soldiers, officer cadets, members of student companies, Studentenkompanien, and convalescent companies, Gesundheitskompanien. So you see how widely spread that was and what kind of groups they were working on. The experiments covered toxicological evaluations, defensive protection technologies, gas masks and protection gear, and the treatment of injuries caused by chemical agents. And here you have the number of years and who wrote about it. Schulz in 2001. A lot of articles you will find on this internet, and there are some additional biographies and bibliography that you can find it. So those military institutions' experiments remained ethically and legally dubious. The regulation concerning new therapy, as they called it, and human experimentation issued by Reich Ministry of Interior in 1931 prohibited experimentation in all cases where consent has not been given. So one more time, is the law that actually is not a law, is not protecting anyone, because it was enough to just give permission. And so on and so on. So one more time, if you do dream about it, it is a sign for you to probably clear out the atmosphere. You probably called to a certain place. Whether you were that person, if you think in terms of reincarnation, if you suddenly wake up from such horror dream, as I previously said, it's always good to make a different ending of that dream. That works very, very good on our subconscious mind. And also the other one is to follow those simple steps, as in every procedure when you work with energy, to acknowledge that something like that happened indeed, and then to give permission to let it go. So you're giving yourself that permission, or you are directly talking to the soul. Those of you who see ghosts, sense the ghosts, you talk directly to the group of souls you see stuck in a certain place. Of course, always ask for the permission if you can do it. I hope this was helpful for those of you who have this kind of experiences. Please pass this material to anyone who should know about it, knows how to constructively use it. And of course, till the next time, have a great day, whatever you are.